Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Eye in the Sky, a Hong Kong suspense thriller from 2007. So this is basically a surveillance film that revolves around the covert operations of an undercover police unit attempting to gather intelligence on a sophisticated crew of jewel robbers. So the way the film works is that you have this subdivision of the police force that has maybe a dozen or so field operatives in civilian clothes who attempt to identify and gather information on suspected criminals. Now this kind of police work has not really been showcased that often in film. The most obvious example for me would be The French Connection from 1971, which had a few very lengthy sequences where the cops were secretly tailing the suspects. Now, for those who have seen that film, you should have a pretty good idea of what to expect here, but I think I need to give a specific example for everyone else, so that they truly understand what they're in for. So let's say, for example, that there's a robbery somewhere, and a street camera catches the image of a suspect. Now, this subdivision will search other street cameras in the area to see how far they can follow this suspect, So you start basically where the crime is committed, and you see how long you can follow him via cameras to hopefully his hideout, but chances are that's not going to happen because you're not going to have that many cameras, and if he's smart, he should be able to give you the slip. So eventually you lose him. But if you have an idea of an area that he frequents, whether it's, on the way to his house or a place where he works, and there's some additional police work that goes into figuring this out, into narrowing down a region of the city. If you can just get that much, then you send this surveillance team out into the streets to stake out the area in an attempt to find him, follow him, and gather additional information on him. So most of the film basically concerns the protagonist operatives as they do this job, which is actually really interesting to watch. From the very first minute of the film, right from the start, the cloak and dagger shadowing begins and continues right up to the final moments. So this contributes a kind of slow burn suspense that keeps the viewer on edge. And although technically this is a slow moving film, the pacing seems very brisk due to its premise. And there are also some great moments when the protagonists are in a position that might expose the entire operation. Now, the overall quality of Eye in the Sky is really good. It's impressive on all fronts. The direction is really engaging, with fluid camera work that keeps things moving, while at the same time effectively showing everything that is happening. Because you have multiple people following one particular suspect. So, if you have say a few square blocks that they're focusing on, and the suspect shows up, you're going to have about a dozen operatives that are going to keep passing each other off on him. Because if you only have one guy following someone and the suspect is sharp, you're going to get exposed. Because you can't just follow someone for like an hour and not have them figure out that you're following them. So that's why they have a dozen or so operatives and they just keep passing each other off, on the suspect. Which is really interesting. I have a lot of fun watching that. So the viewer is constantly aware of the positions and locations of all the characters, which is very important in this. Also, the score in this film is excellent. It's very catchy, too. It's perfectly suited given the themes of the film. So what about the acting here? It's exceptional, and all of the actors have great chemistry together as well. So we have yet another appearance of Simon Yam, my boy, and this is one of my favorite performances from him. When I first saw this movie, Eye in the Sky, years ago, I had previously seen a bunch of Yam's more nasty, notorious films where he plays the bad guy. So his turn in Eye in the Sky is kind of a reserved, intelligent, extremely likable father figure. It just totally convinced me of his range as an actor. After this film, I became an all-time fan of Simon. He's just fantastic in this. So the lead actress is Kate Tsui, who is also surprisingly good here. I immediately became a fan of hers after watching this film. But the only other memorable role of her film career that I know of is subsequent to this film is when she appeared in the Donnie Yen film 14 Blades from 2010, where she played a villain, and she's very good in that one too. But I have heard that many of her best roles are in Chinese TV dramas, so I definitely need to try to find those and check those out if I can find them. Chinese TV dramas are usually a little bit more difficult to find with subtitles, but I'm gonna have to check out more from this girl because I really like her. And then finally we have Tony Leung Ka-Fai, who plays the villain here in impressive fashion. Now this villain is very kind of paranoid, but he's also very sharp and intelligent, with a fantastic memory. So that automatically makes him a big challenge for our protagonist. And also, as an FYI, there are actually 2 Tony Leungs on the Hong Kong acting scene. The more popular actor in the West is Tony Leung Tsui. I think I pronounced that right. Who you've seen in films such as Hard Boiled from 1992, In the Mood for Love from 2000, Infernal Affairs from 2002, and Lust Caution from 2007. So that Tony Leung is big time popular even in the West. I'm a big fan of his. He has a very suave, slick look to him that makes him instantly charismatic. But I must say that Tony Leung Ka-Fai, the guy who stars in Eye in the Sky, has significantly grown on me over time. And I think that his role in this film represents his best work. But that's just another reason to watch this movie. The performances are great in this. Now, one thing that might irritate some viewers is that there are a few improbable coincidences that are used throughout. So I think that in this case, however, it's a little bit easier to swallow because right at the beginning of the movie, the theme of coincidence is alluded to by Simon Yam's character. So he kind of tells this new girl, Kate Choi's character, that, you know, sometimes you just got to get lucky to catch these bad guys, and that's the way things work sometimes. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Other times you might get lucky. So they introduce it as kind of a theme up front. So if it does happen at certain points throughout the film, it seems more easy to swallow because it seems more intentional on the part of the filmmakers, you know what I mean? So, in my opinion, Eye in the Sky is a contemporary classic. I could watch this movie 1,000 times and just not get sick of it. Fans of realistic, well, mostly realistic, suspense-driven tailing sequences a la French Connection will probably be drooling all over themselves, because that's what you get here. And it's fairly easy to find on DVD, so check it out. And as always, we'll see you next time.